Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's me, Mitch, here with you for another Saturday afternoon. Good to see you all. Good to see you. At least 40 of you so far. Not bad. Not bad for an early start on a Saturday afternoon. Oh, just lost 4 of you, it said. You know, you could go crazy watching the viewer count number go up and down, but I don't know if it's YouTube or if it's really reflective of who's actually logged on and watching or who isn't, but sometimes it actually settles down and stays stable for a while. Well, here we are. Here we are again. Saturday, August the 10th. And evidently, my little video this morning didn't scare all of you away. Maybe some of you. And I said this morning that on the video that I sometimes I think I do that on purpose to find out what the motives are of people watching me, how picky they are, how judgmental they are, whether they're going to let me be myself or not. And like most of the human race, unfortunately, most of the people who watch YouTube are in that camp of judgmental, impatient, argumentative, convinced they're smarter than everybody else, closed-minded. Why they're watching is beyond me. But I think I touched on it this morning. I think they're watching and searching drastically for some words that come out of somebody's mouth that makes them feel like they're right and they're okay. And I think there was more to it than most might have gleaned on the surface of what I was trying to say this morning. Sometimes after I get all done with those videos, and the one I made this morning, I didn't even edit. As you could tell if you watched it, if you watched more than a couple of minutes of it, there were a couple of times during the video where you heard me stop, think for a second, and say, take 2. And that happens to me, I wouldn't say frequently. It only happened a couple times in that 37 minutes of speechifying that I did this morning. But sometimes when I'm just talking off the cuff, unscripted like that, stuff just flows. I don't control it. I don't pre-think it. I just let it happen. Let it come out. My mind seems to be, I'm able to follow these trains of thoughts and articulate them pretty well, I think. Not like a professional orator or college professor, but coherently, and hopefully I make my point. But I didn't feel like editing that today. As a matter of fact, I didn't even feel like making a video this morning. And most of those videos like that I made this morning are spur of the moment, spontaneous. This just came to mind. There's some points I want to make, some observations that might help getting us through some of these trying times, an opportunity to inject a little combination of outrageousness and comedy. I remember, not that I use it every day, but I remember my I'm a ray of effing sunshine coffee cup. I went and grabbed it. I grabbed the camera. I grabbed a cigar. And right now, what I want to show you, just just for grins, just so you know, is what it was that prompted that video. I was sitting out on my patio, about to have a cup of coffee, and I'll be clearing my throat a little bit. The last lingering remnants of that head cold that I had are kind of hanging on, and it's a little phlegm. So you'll hear me doing that. All the other symptoms have gone away. I have no cough, but just a little phlegm and a tiny little bit still of a runny nose, but nothing serious. Maybe nothing more than I have most of the time normally anyway. But I'm sitting out there this morning, drinking my coffee out of this cup, not the ray of effing sunshine cup, which is a great cup, by the way. My daughter knows me too well. She bought that for me. I think it was for my birthday. And I see this on my YouTube screen. Two of them in a row. And it pissed me off. It just brought that, honest to God, that whole speech, a 37-minute speech just flashed into my head about how fed up I am with everybody trying to stoke our fears, make us worry, in the name of getting us to watch either their news broadcast, their YouTube video, their Facebook post, their X post or live, with these clickbaity thumbnails. Hurricane impacts coming. No shit, Sherlock. No shit, Sherlock. It's hurricane season. Somebody somewhere on the planet is going to be impacted by hurricanes. Do any of us really care as long as it's not us? Come on now, be honest with yourself. Do you agonize over somebody down in the Caribbean islands getting hit by a hurricane? Oh, you may be compassionate and all, but don't you say to yourself, boy, I'm glad it wasn't me. That's why people watch bad news. There, but for the grace of God go I, we all say. That's just being honest with yourself. So here you have on the right-hand side, stay alert, a map where you see the entirety of the east coast of the United States covered in red with a question mark and arrows going in every which direction. Stay alert. Again, no shit, Sherlock. Now, neither of these thumbnails caused me any concern about where I live, because we've known with great certainty, at least since yesterday, where this particular storm they're talking about, which is still way, way out there, where it's going. And it's going to stay out, evidently, over the open ocean and curve to the north before it gets anywhere near the United States and head out harmlessly to sea. We know that. We already know that. We have it with high certainty. All of the models, the European, the American, all of the variations of all of those models, all the spaghetti plots, all that stuff has come together with high confidence. And those things are amazing. And project the path of this thing away. And yet, I guarantee you, they will continue to try to make us concerned, try to make us look at their videos. They'll go through the entire video telling us step by step how this thing's going to go, until finally, if we hang around long enough to the end of the video, we'll get the punchline that, oh, Never mind, it's not going to hit you under that big area that we had covered in red on that clickbait thumbnail. This kind of stuff, people, this kind of stuff, it just keeps turning me off more and more and more to watch people's YouTube videos. And yet, as a YouTuber, it's a double-edged sword, because you have to try to create some kind of interest for people to watch your video, or they're not going to watch. And I'm guilty of it too. I try to create interest in my thumbnails and titles, but not false interest, not something to lure you in where the actual video has nothing whatsoever to do with what I lured you in with. Somebody's like Jordan Peterson's famous picture on my thumbnail, so you think, well, maybe this is about Jordan Peterson. I don't do that stuff. I pay the price for it. My videos don't get the views that so many of these sensational ones do, but that's okay with me. That's okay with me. I'd rather have 10% the number of people in my audience, but I'd rather those 10% of people have half a brain, some common sense, understand reality when they see it, and come to me for either entertainment, which I hope is the main reason, and information. But let's face it, folks, carnivore is the simplest thing in the world. There's only so many ways to tell somebody, don't eat plants, eat meat, get enough fat, consider some of these other things like intermittent fasting and things like that. How many ways can you say that? I've 376 videos now in a year. How many times can I keep saying, hey, have you heard of carnivore? Let me tell you what it is. You eat meat. You don't eat vegetables. Stay away from sugar. So if I'm going to have a channel and it's going to continue growing and I'm going to have people that want to watch me for something, I better be an entertainer. I better be an entertainer. The good news is I like to entertain people. I like to make people laugh. I like to do absurd, unexpected things. There's a price you pay when you do that. You piss people off. You offend their sensibilities. And I used to worry about that. And you will have seen over the past year a huge change in my attitude towards how I care about what people actually think. I don't care what they think. I just don't want to have to hear it. You know, keep it to yourself. Think whatever you like. And I'm working on that too. I'm beginning to laugh off more of these absurd comments, not taking them as personally. So I suppose, like most things in life, over the past 10 years, I'm coming back from almost being dead and giving up. And the more I do this, the stronger I get. And the more like my good old self in the good old days I become. Whether you're going to like that, Mitch, I hope so. Because the one thing that I haven't changed is I don't lie. I tell you what I really think. I don't deceive anybody. There's no propaganda or bullshit here. I live in a real world that's governed by common sense and reality, and I'll never stray from that. And you'll never see me change my core beliefs about virtually anything of importance, whether it be family, religion, politics, and I would say to a 99% extent, diet. But none of us knows everything yet about human nutrition, especially since so many of us are a little different. And what works for some, fine-tuning might not work for others. And I've been conducting for 2 years an experiment on myself and being true to the rules of that experiment. And like I've said, and I'll reiterate it again, my 2-year phase 1 of my experiment is over now. It's over. The rules for that were no plants, except coffee, no carbs, meat only, not just beef, but animal products only, and intermittent fasting, and no snacking. And I kept that true to form for 2 full years. And it worked. It cured me, fixed everything. It fixed everything I had wrong with me. Tour says, I'm going to have a heart attack from the carnivore diet. Is that a smiley face that you put after that? Oh, no. Maybe. I doubt it, but maybe. Who knows what shape you're in? Who knows how much damage you've done to your coronary arteries over decades and decades of eating poisonous food? You want to blame it on carnivore if you happen, if that's when it happens to hit you, go right ahead. It's your prerogative. None of us will ever know for sure. None of us know anything for sure. We don't even know that the results they get on all these so-called studies have any validity to them whatever, because they're just somebody's interpretation, usually based on their own agenda and their own opinions. And who's paying their bills? So we don't know. I know one thing for certain. One thing that's absolutely certain. That in 2 years of as strict as I did it, carnivore, my cravings completely and 100% went away. So did my rheumatoid arthritis, any autoimmune conditions. So did including eczema. I know that I've never felt better. I know that for a man my age, I improved my physical performance. I know that it worked because I only changed basically one thing in my life, and that was the food I ate. And in order for you to be sure of whether an experiment works, I keep saying this, you can't have a lot of variables and confounders. You have to basically change one thing and see what happens. Well, that 2 years is over now. There are some concerns, and I'll get this out of the way, and I'll go start saying hi to everybody. Good to see you all. This is kind of like an opening monologue for me. There are some concerns that longer-term carnivores have brought up, and it has to do with doing something too long sometimes has or creates problems of its own. For example, eating no carbs for some people, or too much protein for some people, has caused too much gluconeogenesis. Protein has caused some elevation of insulin for some biochemical reasons, a lack of what they call flexing, which is your body switching naturally back and forth from sometimes burning some sugar and sometimes burning some fat, which I think is the normal way to live. It would be like having a Prius car that never, ever, ever runs on electricity, even though it's there. It's just set in its ways when it comes to running on gasoline, and that's all it does. That's not the way it was designed. We evolved as a creature with all of the chemistry to survive on sugar for emergency times, famines, survival times. But we also have the chemistry controlled by the Randall cycle, which allows our cells to switch back and forth depending on the conditions, all the conditions, whether we be sugar burners or fat burners. And that controversy rages today in the athletic community, even though there are a lot of people who fully believe in carnivore. They will not back off of the fact that for optimum performance, you need that extra quick energy boost that sugar gives you, because really that's what makes up glycogen, which powers our muscles. And that's a debate. It's time for, I think, for me to start exploring that. I haven't made any decisions yet. You guys, if I decide to eat a blueberry, you guys will be the first to know. If I eat a blueberry, immediately after I eat the blueberry, I am going to turn off my cell phone and run and hide under my bed for a week. Not for the reason you think. I'm going to hide under my bed for a week and turn off my cell phone and not appear on YouTube or do anything, for the sole purpose of I don't want to have to read 1,000 comments of people telling me how disappointed they are in me that I ate a blueberry, that I'm a turncoat, that I don't follow my own advice, that you're just like Paul Saladino. I can see it now. Nothing surprises me in this world. I predict everything that happens long before it happens. And I predict that that will happen, which is why I'm trying to set everybody up. And I'm doing it on my live stream here where you guys are all my friends. And I got to tell you, the only thing I'm afraid of by eating a blueberry is not what that blueberry is going to do to me. I've eaten tons of blueberries in my life, and I'm still here talking about it. I am just concerned about my addiction coming back. That's all I care about. I would love to be able to, in season, eat a couple blueberries a day, because that's what the cavemen did. In season. That's only 2 or 3 weeks. That's not a daily trip to Aldi buying a 3-pound bag of frozen blueberries 24/7, 365 days a year. That's not what that is. So right now, I'm probably going to do some blood testing. After 2 years of strict carnivore, I want to see what my C-peptide is, what my fasting insulin is, my A1C, all the sugar type markers. I want to know whether too much protein now is throwing some of my numbers a little high. And when I discover that, and that's not going to happen anywhere in the next few days, but when I discover that, I'm going to start doing more and more research, and I've been doing some, about what will happen or the benefits of adding a small amount of a non or a minimally poisonous carbohydrate. You're not going to find me eating spinach, almonds, or dark chocolate back into my diet to start my metabolism flexing again. And I think that's what's coming. So you can expect that. And I hope you find that interesting. And I'm not the only one that does it. Ken Berry does it all the time. I mean, part of his normal routine is having, occasionally some carbs or berries or something. And even though he considers himself a carnivore, and I will always be a carnivore. And for me, it will always be 95+% all animal products. But I may be able to be healthier with a little, but I don't know yet. There's only one way for me to find out, and that is change nothing else. Change nothing else. Add one variable and see what happens after a certain period of time. It's the problem with experimenting. You can't hurry it up, and you can only change one thing at a time. So what I would do if I decide to do it at all, and it all depends on the results of my tests and things like that, I may add a couple blueberries during season once or twice a week. And we'll see. And we'll see what happens. So just wanted you to know that's coming. Please don't consider me a turncoat. Please don't think I've abandoned carnivore, that I don't believe everything I do, because that's not true Not true at all. There are many esteemed people, doctors and scientists, that suggest this kind of a move, not the least of whom is Rob Sivas, the carb addiction doc, who regularly sees that people are just eating too much protein and it's causing them some problems. Well, before I start saying hi to everybody, let me thank you, Sherry Morgan, for the super chat. Many doctors recommend adding fat when eating carbs to blunt a spike opposite of Randle's cycle. What do you think? No, I think that, I say no. That's a very complicated subject. Yes, some fat. Depends how many carbs you're eating. If you're eating 300 grams of carbs, yeah, don't eat fat. If you're just having a few berries, it's been said, and this is something that Barry Sears discovered, the author of the Zone Diet, that the fat actually slows down the digestion of the carbs. So are we talking about an issue of what happens to the sugar when it hits the cellular level for cellular respiration, or what happens to it in the digestion to determine how fast it's absorbed by the bloodstream? Two completely and totally different topics. Shouldn't mix them up. Great topic for another video. Thanks, Sherry. Appreciate that. And we also have here, Deezed. Hey, thank you, David. Very nice of you. Looking forward to hearing more about your experiments with flexing, including how you'll be measuring the outcomes. Thanks, Mitch. Well, I'll be measuring the outcomes the same way I've always been. Number one, how I perform, how I feel, what happens to my weight, and most importantly, whether I find that the thought of eating anything sweet increasingly comes into my consciousness in the form of a even mild craving, which I have none of now. So what I have to do is come up with that. I will tell you something that did happen to me, because I do tell you everything after I sip my coffee. You know that I've had, over the past month, a couple of bouts with some things. The first was what I thought was a minor upper respiratory bug of some kind, which I think left me wide open for that cold that I picked up at the keto conference. Prior to that, I had not had any symptoms of anything, not a headache, not anything, for just shy of 2 years. I don't weigh myself a lot. I don't weigh myself very often, as a matter of fact. I can tell by looking in a mirror. But over the period of that last 3 or 4 weeks, I haven't worked out much, not nearly as hard as I had been. I have not had the desire to. I haven't felt like it. I try to go with my feelings and cues from my body, and I think my body was telling me you need to rest until this all heals up. So I haven't been doing much of that. I ate based on the cues of my body, not any arbitrary rules. I still tried to follow my eating schedule, but I found I was eating a little less food. And yesterday morning, I got on the scale, and I had lost 3 pounds. Doesn't sound like anything monumental. But for somebody who's weighed 138 pounds for a year and a half, without going up and down but ounces every day, maybe. And people keep telling me how skinny I look and how frail I look, even though I don't believe I'm frail. Certainly not frail. And I still carry 15% body fat, so I can't be all that skinny. 3 pounds is significant to me. I weighed 100 this morning, as a matter of fact. I weighed 135 pounds, and I don't think that's, and I'm just conscientiously now starting to eat more food. We'll see what happens. But that's another reason I don't want to lose any more weight. I don't want to end up being a 118-pound skeleton. I don't want to look like I've just been saved from a concentration camp. I want to be healthy. And that's another reason why after 2 years I said, well, maybe I need to look at bringing in some of these carbs based on the advice from some of the scientists and the doctors who practice in this space and really do deep dives into the numbers and how maybe too much protein affects us. And not only do I want to know this for me, of course, that's very important to me, but I also want to not give anybody any advice that I'm finding out might need to be modified a little bit. So let's just leave that subject at that for right now. And let me, that was the first half hour of my live stream. At any rate, good to see you all. Good to see you all. We had Cliff Medina in there early this morning, and Boyd Lamb, my two regulars. CB Carmack, how you doing? Jerry Bell says hello, meet people, and Linda G says hello to you all. And these were all people that came in before the stream starts. Kenneth Bates cooking some bacon while waiting. Good to see you, Jerry Vajtush from Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. Good to see you. And here's Turamir. How you doing? Saying hi to everybody. We had Charger Mopar. Rick is here from the Duck Pound. How you doing? Marilda Tomalo. How you doing from Southern California? Carnivore for about 3-4 months now. Good for you. Good for you. Congratulations. Don Shanger. Hi, Don. How are you? And Ron Emerson. Kai is here. Good to see you. Mark Booze. Hi, Mark. How you doing? And we have Muyini. Hello, everyone. That's a new one on me, but I hope I pronounced it right. Lynn Rossgriffin. How you doing? How you doing? I constantly have worry about, well, we'll talk about that later, Lynn. Save the bathroom talk for later in the stream. Michael Pregler's here. Hi, Michael. How are you doing? Oscar Rodriguez from Miami, from South Florida. And a new friend of mine, very complimentary guy, Imperfect Carnivore from over there in the United Kingdom. How you doing, my friend? Glad you could make it. Glad you could make it. That's why I do this Saturday afternoon live stream, is for you guys over there in Europe. Appreciate you coming in. And Snake Plissken. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. We got here. Says, hey, what's up, Mitch? Hey, how you doing? Moorhen from England. How are you, my friend? Welcome. And Grandma Prepper 2022 from South Carolina. Good to see you. And El Gato Estebans. Welcome home, Mitch. Well, thank you. And I have a question here from Jerry. Quit drinking pop 27 years ago and bought into the idea that lots of water is good for you. It is going to take a while to get used to reducing water intake. Well, we need to stay hydrated, but we also need to listen to our body's cues, I guess. I don't know what the question is there. It's more of a comment, but I try to listen to my body's cues, and if I'm thirsty, I drink. I consciously want to make sure that I do get my electrolytes during the day. That's one thing I've been relatively faithful to. I might skip the iodine every once in a while, but the electrolytes, if I skip them for a week, my nighttime leg cramps will come back. So I know they're doing something that they're supposed to be doing in there. Jerry Morgan, happy Saturday. Love the videos. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that I've got an audience that's mostly grown-ups. because it's fun for me to do stuff like that. It's fun for me to be outrageous and imagine the looks on some people's faces as they duck and run for cover. Rachel Moore, how you doing? I love watching you because you speak the truth and give out about things that need to be given out about. Yes, I only talk what I perceive as to be reality. No fantasy, no fairy stories, nothing like that. Just stuff that makes sense. That's the number one thing in my life. It must be logical. Maybe I'm a distant relative of Mr. Spock or something, but it's gotta be logical. And Boyd. Okay, when Boyd speaks up, I wait for the insult. What does it say? Oh, I'm judging you constantly and you need to adopt my standards and view of the world immediately. Well, see, what did I just tell you? I knew what Boyd was going to say before he even said it. Thank you, Boyd. You haven't disappointed me. And I love you, guy. My kind of guy. He gets me. And I appreciate that. We have Lewis L. from New York City. How you doing? Or Louis L. from New York City. Whenever New York and Louis comes together, the movie Trading Places comes to mind. You remember that when Jamie Lee Curtis goes up to Dan Aykroyd and says, no, it wasn't Jamie Lee Curtis, it was his girlfriend. Nobody wants to buy your drugs here, Louis. Remember that? That was a fabulous movie. One of my favorites. And when people ask me what my favorite movies are, I forget to mention that one. But that was. Tammy Pitarch, how you doing, Tammy? Howdy, y'all. Y'all is the plural. No, y'all is... I think I know the grammatical rules of Southern, but if I'm not mistaken, y'all is actually singular. It's something you would say to one person. Hi, y'all. Because if you're talking to more than one person, if you're talking to a group, it's all y'all. That's the plural of y'all is all y'all. And I think I got that straight, and I might pass a grammar test. But maybe I'm wrong. I have a shirt. That's it. I wore it this morning. I may be wrong, but I doubt it. I love that shirt so much. My son bought me that shirt, I think a year ago or so, for Christmas or something. And then this past year, my daughter always buys me T-shirts. She bought me another one of the exact same shirt without realizing I already had it, which was a sign to me that I was not hiding the fact that that's my attitude, that they know me too well. Who else is new here that I didn't say hi to? Tom. Tamron, RVing Carnivores. How you doing? Good to see you. Stacy Webster, all my love to you from Seattle, Washington. Thank you so much, Stacy. I can use all the love I can get. Coco's here. Obviously responding to somebody. How you doing, Coco? Good to see you. And I think we're just most of the same people just talking back and forth to each other. So let's break away from that part of the chat. And let me get to, here's somebody telling me, y'all equals you all. Well, you'd think that, wouldn't you? You'd think that. So why do they say, all y'all? I want all y'all listen up. I want all y'all to take my advice. Why do they feel it's necessary to put the all in front of the word y'all. So there's a fine point we can probably debate for hours, but let's not. So let me get down here. So Prison Bunny says that's for a crowd. Okay, I'm going to stick with my original thought that y'all is singular because you can say it to one person. How y'all doing? Maybe it's how deep in the South you actually are. Let's see. I have seen a few questions go by, so let me go back up in here to the top of my chat and let me remind you all that if you want to ask me a question, you want me to actually notice it, where'd that go? If you actually want me to notice it, put 3 capital Q's in front of it, not question marks, not the word question. I am searching for occurrences of Q, Q, Q in that sea of chat that's going by. So we'll see how that works. There's the one that I answered already that was from Jerry Vodstush. So let's try the next one here and see what happens. Potato Head says, do you take names off your members page once they cancel their memberships? Yes, I do. But once you cancel your membership, you're still evidently paid up until the end of that period. And what I do about every 2 or 3 days is I go into the back end on my YouTube studio. I download a spreadsheet of all of the current members and replace all of them on my website. So every 2 or 3 days, that list should be up to date. But if you canceled, you may still be current for another month or 2 or 3 weeks. So you're going to still show up on the list. But yes, I don't know why you're asking me that, except maybe somebody gifted you a membership where you joined and you don't want to be associated with me anymore and you don't want your name showing up on my page. So hang in there. It will go away and I'll stop embarrassing you if that was the purpose of your question. If not, if you're proud of the fact that your name is on my page, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Never know why somebody might ask a question like that. Grandma Prepper question. Have you had any vision changes on Carnivore? I have worn 1.5 readers for years due to my MS. I had a change to 1.25 this week due to eye discomfort, 95 days Carnivore. That is not uncommon at all to see vision improvements, especially not just in the refraction issues of the eye, but the macular health and general overall eye health as well, and lens flexibility, which is why we need glasses in the first place, is our lenses get hard and they can't change shape as easily to focus. My prescription has reduced considerably. I've had to get new glasses twice already because my old glasses were just too strong. My eye floaters have all but disappeared completely in the 2 years since I've been pure carnivore, something that didn't happen on keto. Dr. Lisa Waitman is an ophthalmologist, carnivore, who talks in her videos and her appearances all about the almost miraculous changes that happen to people's eyesight and vision when they go on carnivore. Now, some of that is due to the fact that people have reverse their diabetes. And diabetes will make you blind. So you reverse that, you're going a long way just from that one angle alone in improving your overall eye health. So yes, and if you're just getting drugstore readers, it's cheap fix. I wish I could say that, because I have astigmatism and prism correction issues that have to be built into my glasses that make it much more complicated than that, unfortunately. But my eyes are doing fine. In fact, I'm reading the computer screen every time I do these live streams. It seems like it's just a little more with just my regular glasses, without these special stronger glasses that I have to be able to focus on a screen that's a little closer to me. With just my regular distance glasses now, I'm much more able to read what's on the computer screen without straining. And you'll see me occasionally, lean forward and squint, do something. The type size, the font size on my screen is not huge. So sometimes especially when it comes to somebody's name, pronouncing somebody's name, I just have to take a little closer look and maybe use my bifocals, which are down on the bottom. But right now I'm just looking through my regular glasses. I can actually almost read. In fact, it's sharp. I can read the text on my computer screen without my glasses. It's actually sharper without my glasses than it is with them. The problem is the glasses fix the prism correction. So it takes a while for my eyes to adjust to that, because I'm seeing double lines of text, one right over the top of the other, because that's what my eyes do. One image hits my brain a little higher than the other. Eventually my brain will put it together, but that causes a lot of strain to keep that up. That's why I need the prism correction in my glasses. Unfortunately, that's the kind of thing, the only cure or treatment for that is basically surgery on all your eye muscle attachments to try to, and I'm not going there, sorry. I think the potential downside is much more. But I find sometimes that if something looks a little blurry to me in my glasses, I take my glasses off and shut one eye and everything gets better. Yeah, it's crazy. But when I put the glasses back on, everything snaps back into a single image. So, but that's the answer to that eye question. I hope that makes you happy. And now we're back to the quit drinking soda 27 years ago question. So if you guys have more questions, ask away. Here's one down at the bottom. Okay, there were more. Sorry, I found some. Yes, this one here is from Nico. Nico Lamas, how you doing? Is that Nico? Yes, Nico. Did you experience oxalate dumping when first starting carnivore? I'm pretty sure I did. But how do you know? How do you know that? Because oxalate dumping can manifest itself in many ways. It can screw up your internal organs. It can cause rashes and come out through your skin. It can do all kinds of things. Sally Norton, is that her name? Sally Norton, I think, is the guru on that. Has a lot of great videos talk about the different ways oxalate dumping will manifest itself. I'm pretty sure I had the rash version of that, and I probably still am, because it can take years for your body to get rid of that crap. And the more health conscious a person you always thought you were, this is the irony of it, the highest oxalate foods that we eat are the things that the vegans classify as superfoods and make smoothies out of. and encourage us to eat mass quantities of them and try to get more and more and more of the poisons from them into us. It's not bad enough you can eat spinach. No, you got to take 5 pounds of spinach and juice it and then drink all that. Why would you just want to poison yourself with a small amount of poison when you can get the total amount of poison in 5 pounds of spinach by juicing it and making green smoothies with all of that crap in it? And throw some almonds while you're at it. And man, I'll tell you what really makes it taste good is put some dark chocolate in that smoothie too. Make yourself a spinach, almond, and dark chocolate smoothie. You'll get more cyanide and isolates per fluid ounce that you could ever imagine how to cram in your body. And that's health food. And so many of us have been health conscious, and we've been concentrating on all the superfoods. We go out of our way to eat more almonds and eat more dark chocolate. If we're going to have something sweet, let's make sure it's that dark chocolate. And make sure you get your spinach. Make sure you, and that's all high oxalate. Now we become carnivores. We're loaded up with these oxalates. They've been causing us grief all our life, and we don't know it. And the body doesn't want them, and it starts getting rid of them. And sometimes that oxalate dumping can be very, very harmful if it happens too fast. In fact, some of the advice you get is start eating some oxalates again to slow down the dumping if you're getting severe symptoms. So if you think you're having oxalate dumping, Nico, then by all means, do some research on it. Sally Norton, watch her videos. For me, I would get these little, I still have the last remnants of them healing on my thigh. I get these little, look like pimples all of a sudden pop up on my skin. And they'd itch for a while and I'd scratch them. And after a while, a little head would develop on them. And I'd keep scratching them and I'd scratch the head off, and inside of that, a microscopic, almost grain of sand, little size char of what looked like an amber-colored glass. And that was an oxalate crystal that my body was trying to get rid of by pushing it up through my skin. And I've had probably a dozen of them all told over the past couple of years. Who knows how much oxalates I still have. It can take decades to get rid of some of the crap that we've done in the name of health. All those phytoestrogens that you think that the vegans and the vegetarians tell you are so healthy. Phytosterols that are so good for you that you get by eating plants. Phytosterols are basically plant cholesterol. Our body uses cholesterol to do all kinds of things, amazing things. The more we study, the more we learn how by lowering cholesterol, we're killing ourselves. Now, the higher our cholesterol, the better off we're going to be if we're metabolically healthy. And that's the decider. And if you ever want to have one basic rule that, in my opinion, is the definitive answer to high LDL, whether it's bad for you or good for you, there's one qualifier. And that is metabolic health. You cannot be an obese diabetic with screaming high triglycerides, screaming low HDL, and thinking on any planet that you're okay having high LDL. The reason is that high LDL of yours will invariably be small, dense, or damaged, SD LDL, oxidized, glycated LDL, which is not a good thing to have. So, metabolic health, which is where all that lean mass hyperresponder stuff came from. At any rate, I don't want to get into big, long cholesterol discussions, but we learn more and more and more about it. And the one prime rule is if your cholesterol is screaming high like mine, my LDL is 340, I think that's a good thing. That thing makes me heal fast, makes my immune system killer, makes me able to fight off colds and viruses and recover from them in days instead of weeks. It makes me heal from an injury fast. It helps my body rebuild. It makes CoQ10. High cholesterol makes CoQ10 is the precursor for that, which is part of oxidative phosphorylation. Excuse me, easy for you to say. Oxidative phosphorylation, which is the electron transport chain in the mitochondria of every cell of our body. They're responsible for making ATP, and you've all heard of that, which is the energy currency. You cannot be a high energy human being with low cholesterol. You will not have enough CoQ10 to make that, help make that energy in the electron transport chains in your mitochondria. Simple as that. You need high cholesterol if you're a metabolically healthy human being. You have a high HDL, a low triglycerides, a good ratio, at least better than 1.7 to 2 to 1. Okay? You need to be, your blood sugar and your insulin levels need to be normal. Your fasting insulin needs to be normal. You cannot be hyperinsulinemic. You cannot be insulin sensitive. You cannot be a diabetic. You can't have any of these metabolic diseases and expect your high LDL to not be harmful. There was a great video just put out by David Diamond a few days ago, and he went into this, and I was so happy to see him talking about this. And he made just this point, is that the only time that he thinks statins are actually warranted is in metabolically ill people with high LDL. And in those studies, they did get a benefit from statins because their LDL is all small damaged particles. And if that's what they are, yes, it behooves you to want to lower them. But if they're not small damaged, glycated, oxidized LDL particles, you want the more of them, the better. The big fluffy ones. They're the precursors for most of your hormones, including your sex hormones, testosterone and estrogen. This artificially lowering LDL and metabolically ill people is why the average level of testosterone for men in this country is below 300 now. 300. And I've told you, whereas mine is 729. 77-year-old Mitch here. It's all got to do with metabolic health. That's the goal we all should do. So anyway, that was the question about oxalate dumping. I kind of went afield, as I usually do, but hopefully some of what came out of my mouth might be useful or spur maybe further investigation or study on your part. I see we have Ashorn Knutson, my friend. How are you? Some kroners for me. Thank you so much, my friend. I eat steak fried with lots of butter, coated in pepper on the sides. When it's close to medium, add heavy cream to make a sauce and lose weight. Unbelievable, isn't it? Yes, you can. You're making kind of like a Swedish version of what sounds like steak Diane, maybe, with a cream sauce. But yeah, you can't go wrong with that. It's unbelievable. And here I am, I'm still eating like a horse, and I ended up losing 3 pounds. And I'm not, maybe it was the cold. Who knows? Who knows? I did cut back, but I still ate food. I didn't starve myself. But I'm not concerned. I weighed myself yesterday. I was down 4 pounds from my normal weight, and today I was down a pound that I had come back. I think a lot of that weight might have just been dehydration or fluids, whatever. I'll find out. We'll give it a few days. I don't panic over stuff like that. I still can pinch just as much of my little subcutaneous fat as I was before, so I'm not concerned. But the fact that this is crazy. I mean, think about this. Me, the fat kid, the kid that was always trying to lose weight his whole life, the kid that was always looked like the Pillsbury Doughboy with rolls of fat on my body, the kid that agonized over losing every ounce all my life, that person today has to be concerned about being too skinny? I love it. I love it. I love it. And I'm not worried about it. But I do have to explore at this point, after 2 years of pure carnivore, it did its job about maybe some little adjustments again. So when those come along, please don't hate me. Please don't. Thank you, Ashjorn. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. And BR, $1.99, thank you so much, my friend. Always appreciated. Always appreciated. You didn't ask a question. I hope that you somehow didn't get cheated out of it. If you still have a question that you meant to put with this, put it in the chat with the QQQ. I promise you I will get to it. Thanks so much. So now we go back to where we were. The next little QQQ here is TJ Byers says, watched The Road to Wellville. Great suggestion. Wasn't that the most fabulous movie? And so educational to be able to see what John Kellogg's little Battle Creek Sanitarium was actually all about, because I guarantee you, even though they kind of made fun of it in that movie, it should have been made fun of. It was a farce. It was a farce. The farce responsible for the slow dying out of the human race these days. And this little merry band of misfits that are us low-carb carnivores, 126 strong here this afternoon, fighting the Goliath that is the food and drug companies, government regulation, and all the corruption involved in keeping us sick and selling us drugs. Are we suffering? Well, of course, but that's unimportant. Don't stop the money. What are we, crazy? Let's not get crazy about it now. Really is maddening, isn't it? Okay, the next question down. Do I have another question? I have a from BR. Thank you again, my friend. He says, suggestion, I don't know if it's a he or a she, but whatever you are. Suggestions to ease into carnivore. I've tried, but 2-3 days get nauseous and meat is unappealing. Love your honesty and wisdom. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. How to ease in. How to ease into carnivore. A lot of people do keto and slowly transition. And if you have a problem with just 100% meat, it depends on what you were coming from. In fact, it depends on a lot of variables. How much weight you have to lose, how old you are, how long you've been eating, the current way you've been eating, what medical conditions do you have? Are you taking medications, drugs? There's all kinds of things. But let's just assume that you tried it and you can't do it. I would go keto unless you already have been. I would go keto with about 20 grams of carbs and try to eat carbs or vegetables that are easy on the stomach, but keep eating the meat. Now, no matter what you do, whether it's transitioning in, you are going to be throwing your body chemistry for a loop, and you're more than likely going to have more than 3 days worth of bathroom adventures, symptoms like you're having now, and 2 to 3 days, a little nausea is not uncommon. You could, unless it doesn't get too severe, you could just try to tough your way through it for a week or two, because that might go away. That might go away. You might be panicking. You're not going to kill yourself by just eating meat, that's for sure. You could eat nothing for a month and you wouldn't starve to death. But I would try that. I would try, if you can't get past 2-3 days, and tough it up and live through the nausea, I would add some broccoli or some other kind of non-disruptive carb. Stay away from a lot of spices and other things like that. And then wean yourself off of them once you get used to eating more and more meat. Listen, some people keto works fine. Depends on how bad a carb addict you are. You may, excuse me a second. Time for some cold coffee. Finished it. Still has a pretty good flavor. Black decaf. Steve Dudley says he keeps losing the audio. Anybody else losing the audio on this stream? Tammy, I'm having PC problems with YouTube. I don't know. My feed looks like it's gone out pretty well. Haven't heard too much about it, but if anybody's having audio problems, let me know. According to my thing here, it's gone out fine. Got good upload speeds on my internet. All those problems I had seem to be, I've solved them. At any rate, I hope that answered that question for you. And just keep, send me an email or something. Let me know how it. Give it a week and let me know what you're experiencing, and I'll see if anything pops out at me as far as an answer goes. But as far with individual cases about individual reactions to these things, it's hard for any of us, even the doctors on YouTube, without actually having a one-on-one with you, sitting down and answering. And that's why they have coaches, and that's why these guys charge $150 an hour. The big name doctor type YouTube guys, they'll do a consult with you, but you're going to pay for a consult. You want to go see Dr. Rob Sivas and go through his little mill down there, it's going to cost you thousands of dollars. Some of these YouTube people, that's why they do YouTube. The only reason, not all of them, but some of them, is to drum up business for their practice, because they are practicing doctors. Not that they don't do any good, they do a lot of good. But you can't go to them, take up their time, have them do their blood tests, have them come up with real answers tailored to just you, and expect that that's not going to cost you, because it is. And that's what they do. So I unfortunately am not selling any of my time for any amount of money. I am gladly accepting thank yous from people who throw me super chats. I have my Amazon links and earn small commissions if you buy the gadgets that I use here, and I appreciate that. But other than that, I will never sell a consultation to anybody or demand money in order to gain some of my attention. You can do that just by emailing me. So this past couple of days, I've been a little slow returning some of those emails. I've been, between being sick and everything, and busy. But ask anybody who's ever emailed me. They usually get a response. Sometimes it's within 2 minutes. because my phone will generally go ding when I get an email. And if I'm not doing anything right then where I'd be interrupted, I just dispatch it. I just say, okay, who is this? Read it and answer it. So I'm accessible without having to be bought off. That being said, I am doing this at my age to supplement my meager Social Security and try to earn a living at it, though. So if you do appreciate what I do, I won't be insulted if you throw buy me a coffee or something like that. I really do appreciate that stuff. And I have that buy me a coffee thing. Link to it is in the description of all my videos and on my website. On my website, there's also a page that says links to stuff I use, and you can go shopping in there and find all kinds of handy-dandy little inexpensive kitchen gadgets that'll make carnivore as much a breeze for you as it has for me. So check it out. Check it out. And now let's see, what else do we have? We have another. Did I answer that last question fully? It just kind of disappeared. I think I did. Oh yeah, about being nauseous and everything. I hope that's had helped you out. Let me know if it does or it didn't. Ash Jordan again. How you doing, my friend? Just stay away. He's giving you some help. Just stay away from pasta, bread, potatoes, and anything with flour in it, and you should feel much better after a week or two. Tough it out. Tough it out. You're absolutely right, Ash Jordan, but that goes without saying for carnivore. You definitely want to stay away from sugars and starches. You have to. If you're going to eat any carbs, just make sure they're just like Brussels sprouts or broccoli. And also make sure you eat enough fat. A lot of people make a mistake because that's what we're used to doing. They start carnivore and I'll say, well, what are you eating? Well, I make sure that I only eat the leanest cuts of pork and chicken breast or beef, which is what the stores sell most of, because that's the brainwashing that most people have received. You never see any dietary recommendations in the real world where they use the word meat, where they don't preface it with the word lean. Lean meat. Lean meat. White meat's the best. Chicken breast. Nothing. I got news for you. There is no one singular food, in my opinion, on carnivore any more useless than a chicken breast. Followed up shortly in the rear by a lean pork chop. It's the fat that we want. It's the fat where the flavor is. It's the fat where the nutrients are. Yes, the meat is protein, and we need the protein. But that's just basically the same 20 amino acids you get from, doesn't matter what kind of meat you eat. It's the fat that you really need to power your body and add flavor and juiciness to what you eat to make it delicious. Because I don't care what anybody says, a chicken breast tastes, you may as well be eating cardboard unless you season the piss out of it and then cover it with sauce of tomatoes. And then you've defeated the purpose of the whole thing, which was to get rid of that crap and just eat meat. So maybe it'll help you to actually try fat, make sure you're getting enough fat and everything. But anyway, Ash Jordan, thanks so much for the suggestion. Very much appreciated. Now let's see if I can pick up where I was with the questions. Elgato has said, okay, eating for health. Ask a question. Ketovore less than 30 carbs. Tinnitus seems to be getting worse. Do you not think? Eating for health, put QQQ in front of your question. Yeah, I have, you call it tinnitus or tinnitus or however you want to pronounce it. I've had it all my life. Nothing I do, nothing I eat, nothing I change makes it come or go. Some days it's quiet. Some days it's screaming. I have tried all my life to figure out what the hell. I've read every cure, every maneuver to try to silence it. Every quack gadget that they sell you, electronic, it's going to cure your. Nobody knows how to cure that. It is something happening in your brain. Not generally something wrong with any of the mechanical things in your eardrum. Not the little hairs that vibrate, not anything cochlear, none of that stuff. It is just, sometimes your brain just screams. Sometimes it keeps quiet. I think there's, and it's been a lifelong quest of mine. And if I figure out how to cure it, if I figure out it has something to do with diet, if I figure anything definitively, which I don't think anybody's been able to figure out yet. I know there are 1,000 different miracle cures for it that you can buy, from vitamins to injections to certain kinds of massage in behind your ear and pressure points and all that stuff. I've tried it all. I've had this my whole life. Some days my brain screams in my ears and some days it doesn't. And sound, when you stop to think about it, exists not in our ears. It exists in our brain like vision exists. The picture we see in our brain doesn't exist in our eyes. Our eyes are sensors that just send signals to the brain. The brain interprets them and turns them into what we hear and what we see. I've been trying to figure, is it maybe when you're more relaxed? Maybe if you're more relaxed, you don't have it as much. There's no rhyme or reason. No rhyme or reason. I thought maybe it's the amount of sleep. I still keep trying to find some correlation. And it would be one of those studies that would be almost impossible, since it could be almost anything causing it. At any rate, good luck with that. I wish I could help you figure out, for my own sake, what's causing the ringing that we have in our ears. I wish I could. It's why I sleep with white noise playing in the background. It masks it out. And I've always done that. I used to just have, before they even had white noise machines, that 30 years ago, I used to just keep a little fan going in my bedroom to whir and make noise, just so I could sleep. Burns Aquatics, how you doing? Question, hey Mitch, thanks for all you do. Have you ever used a Foreman grill? Not once, ever. I don't think it's any, it just takes hot metal and presses it up against food. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it works great. But no, I've never used one of those. And I'm probably not about to, because the last thing in the world I need is another kitchen gadget. But that was an easy question to answer. And Linda Price says, BR, put QQQ please for questions. That said, yes, you can start counting carbs and keep going smaller. Make your carbs count and avoid fast carbs if you eat a bunch of fast carbs. Okay, so that was BR. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Linda, for trying to help out BR. Boyd Lamb wants me to discuss horse meat. Rather not, but don't think it's an option most of us consider, but it is meat. And a lot of humans have eaten a lot of horse meat over the span of history. BR, sad, is generally over 300 carbs a day. Much of that is fast carbs. Switching to slow will have some feedback. If you want quick sugar, you will get mean. Not as bad as keto flu. That was all about the question of suggestions to ease into carbs. Yeah, just if you're going to eat any carbs and you want to try to be keto or carnivore, they have to be low carb vegetables. I would even stay away from fruits. And for God's sakes, stay away from keto treats. That stuff is sabotage in a box. Horrible stuff. And what else have we got? Any more questions here? I see one from United Carnivore. Question, I understand. Q Brackney says, where'd it go? I just had it here. And then something jumped. Hang on a second here. Q Brackney, I understand you're a pretty strict carnivore. When you started out, did you eat cheese? It doesn't trigger us. We are just starting under 30 days, so appreciate your channel and info. My pleasure. Turamir says, enjoy your coffee. Just bought you one. Thank you. Thank you. How come I don't see it here, but I'll take your word for it. There it is. Yes, you did. Thank you so much. That's right, I have my dinger turned off. My phone, when you buy me a coffee, my phone goes, ka-ching. It's the coolest damn thing. Scares the shit out of me every time. What the hell was that? So, if you want to scare the shit out of me, anytime during the day, because I turn my notifications off at night, buy me a coffee. It'll scare the shit out of me. It'll wake me right up. It doesn't happen often enough for me to get used to that sound, so I'll probably continue to get the shit scared out of me when you do that. Cheese. I've never been a cheese eater. I've never liked cheese. The only cheeses I could ever tolerate were cheeses that weren't sour or real sharp, like Swiss cheese. In fact, Swiss cheese was the only cheese I ate for a long time. Then I finally decided when I was a teenager that pizza was okay. So some of the mild, like skim cheeses like mozzarella or provolone on a Philly cheesesteak, they were okay. But for me to actually sit down with a block of cheese and actually just eat the cheese, it wasn't happening. It wasn't happening. Sorry. But when I started carnivore, I did bring a little cheese in. I ate some Swiss, and I like to take like salami and Swiss cheese and roll it up, make rolls out of it. But the Swiss was not a high-fat enough cheese. And not being a real cheese fan, I didn't miss it. I said, why am I even bothering? It doesn't add all that much for me, and I don't need it. So I stopped eating cheese. But hard cheeses help a lot of people, especially with some of the cooking. Some people like to make a carnivore version of a Philly cheesesteak, or put cheese on their omelets, or a lot of uses for it. Just be careful, don't eat too much of it. If you have no adverse effects and doesn't keep you from losing weight, doesn't trigger anything. The only caution I would say about cheese is there are proteins called casomorphines, which are morphine-like and can be addictive. And a lot of people who start out eating cheese, before they know it, they're going through pounds of it a day. And that just completely screws up everything. So, like everything else, you have to, try it, see what happens, and be very, very wary about cheese creep or carb creep or any of those other creeps that are out there. Hope that helps. United Carnivore says, what are the odds of having a test run or mini meetup Estampa Gaucha Brazilian Steakhouse, Tuesday, August the 20th. Wow. The odds aren't good. There's no way I'm going to get over there. If you want to have a meetup yourself and want to arrange it yourself, feel free. I mean, I would only encourage you guys to communicate with each other. But if it's a meetup going to be involving me, I mean, that's just a week and a half away on a Tuesday, and I do a live stream Tuesday night from here in Melbourne. So I'm not going to be traveling to Tampa for a meetup. But send me a Gmail with any suggestions you have, rather than try to do it in the comments on a video or on a chat on a live stream. Send me a Gmail and propose something, and we'll see if we can't put it together. I was going to be working on this now, but then I got sick, so just trying to get back in the saddle here. I'm screaming, Jimmy. Oh yeah, Boyd says, yeah, Boyd, you would say that. Yeah, just turn on some Jimi Hendrix, crank it all the way up, and you won't hear your tinnitus, and pretty soon you actually won't hear anything anymore for the rest of your life. Welcome 1964, says Steve Studley. Yeah. And we also got a hello, it's meat. Thanks so much in pounds from England. Much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, it's meat. I like that. I like that. That's a cute name. That's a cute name. Thank you so much. And Spanky Golfmatic, looking great. Cheers, sir. Thank you, my friend. It's good talking to you the other night. Spanky was in our private community live stream a couple of days ago, and I met him for the first time. So it was great to see you there. And thank you. Thanks so much, man. Thanks so much. He's up in Canada. Let's see if I can't find the next question, if any. Do you take names off your members page? Been there already. Been that one. Do you experience oxalate? I did that already. Watch the road to Wellville. Did that one. Here's one. Eating for health. 79-year-old carnivore, less than 30 carbs. Tinnitus. Yeah, we talked about that. The tinnitus or tinnitus. And we got that one. And have I ever used the George Foreman grill? Satya Khalsa says, not really a question. I was thinking about one apple a week. I think oxalate residues would still accumulate. I don't know how high apples are in oxalates. I wouldn't worry about the apple, about the oxalates. It's the sugar that I would worry about. And I would ask myself, why? Why do I feel it? Why would I feel it necessary to eat one apple a week? I mean, do those apples really bring you that much? Is it something that gives you so much pleasure? It's worth. If you're going to be a carnivore, one apple a week would, I don't think, be a good idea. Might not be a bad idea. Who knows? Because I'm about to explore adding a few carbs. If you can eat one apple a week and enjoy it, and it doesn't turn into 2 apples a week, and then 1 apple a day, and then 2 apples a day, and then a gallon of Haagen-Dazs ice cream, more power to you. If you think you need it, if your weight's under control, if all your health issues are resolved, if your pain's resolved, if everything's going great for you, And the only deviation you're not eating plant matter, because most of the plant toxins are not in the fruit. The fruit is something that it behooves the plants if we eat the fruit, but not the leaves or the stalks. That's for damn sure. But eating fruit is part of nature's little scheme to spread the plant seeds around, and it helps it in survival, so it's beneficial. And for that reason, we get addicted to the sweet things, which encourage us to eat the fruit and the bees to eat the honey. I don't think they're that other than the sugar. Now, then along came man and decided that nature didn't do such a great job of inventing this fruit, making it sweet enough, putting too many seeds in it. God, just how inconvenient that we have to eat around all those seeds. So we figured out ways to selectively breed and genetically modify these things to lower the seed count, make them a lot sweeter, a lot bigger, turn them from something that probably wasn't too bad an idea for us into a frigging sugar bomb. And people love it. The bigger and sweeter, the better. And more fructose. And then you have to be careful. Well, Jesus, how much fructose am I getting? That stuff is just not good for you in a lot of ways. So not for me with what, if I was going to eat fruit, and I'm contemplating, although I haven't made the decision yet, I still have to do some testing, but just a small amount of berries, like blueberries, would be better for me. But again, I'd have to be very wary that it doesn't awake that beast of a carb addiction in me, because that would, after 2 years of getting rid of it, be like an alcoholic after 2 years of going to meetings once a week and getting his 2-year pin, letting somebody talk him into a drink for some reason, and back to square one again. I don't ever want to get there. I just want to make sure what I'm doing is the best shot I have of being healthy without screwing everything up and going back to what I used to be, pushing 200 pounds with rheumatoid arthritis in every joint in my body. I will never accept life like that again. So, deal about the one apple a week, Satya, that's up to you. We're all masters of our own fate anyway. And you may be able to do it perfectly well with no ill effects. So I'm not going to say, no, I won't say that to you. I'll just caution you that it could lead to results you wouldn't be happy with. That's why they call it experimenting, I suppose. So that's that question. There's the cheese question. What are the odds of having a test run? There's the test run question. Do you take names? Yes. Okay, I think I have. Let me go back down to the bottom of the chat again and look for some more questions. There's the George Foreman grill. Yeah, this thing will keep highlighting these QQQs and going round and round. I think that was the last one. Here's one. Golf Addict said, okay. Golf Addict says, which carbs are you thinking of adding, Mitch? Well, the only carb that I would think about adding to start with might be blueberries, little cup of blueberries, maybe once or twice a week, and see what happens. Very few grams of carbs, but the whole idea of this little test would be to see if it triggered any signs of carb addiction after 2 years of wiping it out completely, and whether the addition of a few dietary carbs will make me actually feel any noticeably different or better. If it doesn't make me feel noticeably different or better, or affect any blood tests that might show that I need to add a few, but that's all unknown to me right now. I have not set up parameters for this. It's not going to happen anytime in the next month or two. It's just, I've opened the door of possibility to the next phase of eating less strict than nothing but animal products. But would I ever go back to even keto, where I'm eating, 20 grams of carbs every day, trying to cram in all the good addictive tasting stuff? No, I can't. I could never do that. I am a carnivore. And so is Ken Berry and Bart Kay and all of these other people who still eat some carbs, but they're still carnivores. I mean, the strict definition of what a carnivore is an animal that gets 70% of its nutrition from meat or more. And this concept of strict carnivore appealed to me for the main purpose of curing my carb addiction, which I couldn't cure being keto. And I could not heal my body until I got rid of the poisons I was eating, because I'm a carb addict. So stopping all the plants helped. But there's so many different ways to do it, and we all react slightly differently, because we all arrived at our current state of genetic programming through some wildly different circuitous routes of our ancestors. We don't all react the same, just like all of us are not lactose intolerant. Only some of us are. Not all of us will die if we eat a peanut or go into anaphylactic shock. Just some of us. It all has to do with what our ancestors adapted to and what the other guy's ancestors adapted to. So in the final analysis, it really comes down to the fact that we have to find out what's right for us within broad parameters. And I'm trying to keep the experiment as simple as possible. And nothing has been simpler than doing carnivore, which I am going to continue to do for the rest of my life. Don't get me wrong. This old guy is a carnivore. Not only am I going to be and remain a carnivore, but I'm going to be at the worst only maybe 98 to 99% carnivore. And it's going to take a good reason for me. For example, if I find out that my fasting insulin is much higher than it should be for somebody that's not eating carbs, then I will know that my body has figured out a way to do things that maybe it shouldn't, because maybe I need to manufacture a little more glucose than with gluconeogenesis than I thought, or maybe I need to turn a little more of that protein into sugar somehow. I don't want the high insulin, so I might try adding a little bit of carbs in the form of blueberries to carb cycle We'll see. We'll see. Darlene. Oh, here we got some questions here. Okay. What is your opinion of bulletproof coffee? Well, I don't have any more coffee to drink. I think bulletproof coffee is fabulous if you're practicing keto and you care about your being in ketosis and you're monitoring your ketones and your whole goal is to piss on that strip and have it come out purple and buy a ketone meter like Dr. Boz and 10 times a day and wear a CGM and try to micromanage your whole body's biology and have a closet full of supplements and watch every doctor on YouTube and every video on YouTube and listen to Dave Asprey and buy his books. And have you got the message yet? Bulletproof coffee, as far as I'm concerned, is a waste of time. If you're not, it's a way to get fat in you. That's all. I went through all that. I went through the MCT oil, the medium chain triglycerides. I went through the butter, putting butter and cream. Some people just like it. You know, they just like the fat and the rich taste, like people like hot chocolate, I guess. But it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. If you got a shitload of weight to lose, yeah, sometimes monitoring your ketones and really trying to keep them up there and keep them high might make you lose weight a little faster. But if you can't drink black coffee, if you have to have coffee, that's great. I don't see any reason to avoid bulletproof coffee or drink bulletproof coffee like anything else. It's just a different way of getting fat into your body. And to coin a phrase from Seinfeld, not that there's anything wrong with that. And if those of you who are Seinfeld fans will know what I mean when I say, well, not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's okay. It's okay. I wouldn't go out of my way to get some. I've never recommended it to anybody. I don't see the benefit of it, at least not for me. So, no, I don't. That's my opinion of it. I see Steve Studley. Mitch, would you tell us if you ate some ice cream? I would tell you in a hot New York second, guys. My whole life and everything I do and everything I eat is fully transparent to you. I have no secrets in that respect. That would be unfair to you guys. Because my whole reason for doing this is not to tell you what to do, to show you what I'm doing. And then you decide if you want to do it too. That would be kind of disingenuous of me to not tell you that I was eating a gallon of Haagen-Dazs every day, expecting you to behave yourselves. I'm not that dishonest. I don't have a dishonest bone in my body. I can't do that. I'm agonizing over eating one blueberry and making sure that you guys are ready for the news before I do. That's how unlikely it will ever happen, Steve. Steve, I honestly, when I say to you, I have not eaten other than drinking coffee and maybe a little garlic in a seasoning. I have not had 1 gram of any plant or part of a plant in my body. I have not eaten other than this small amount of glycogen or glucose that happens to be in meat and eggs that we eat. I have not had 1 gram of sugar of any kind or starch in my body in 2 years. That is a fact that you can count on, that I didn't take any cold medicine when I had the cold. I didn't use aspirin or decongestants or any of that stuff. I want to see how my body handles it, like a caveman's body might have, without the Walgreens on the corner. Walgreens is a bad place for me because even if I went in to pick up a prescription, I had to walk past the ice cream. They got us everywhere. Anyway, Gordon, that's my opinion of bulletproof coffee. A lot of people like it. Maybe it does have a benefit. Maybe, like Bosworth says, you should be keeping your ketones real high. I kind of agree with Rob Sivas and some of the other doctors who say it's not our job to regulate ketones. It's our body's job. I don't give it a second thought. I think you're better off flexing a little, going in and out of ketosis. Let your body exercise all of its different pathways. I may be way off base even thinking I need a carb because I don't drastically try to keep myself in ketosis. I'm certainly not gaining any weight. I certainly feel good, and I need to start working out a little bit again. And I think I'm getting most of my strength back. So we'll see. We'll see. Question, Darlene. Darlene Anglin, why does my blood sugar elevate just approximately 2 hours before I wake up? If you know, I wear a CGM. Yes, I know. It's your blood sugar elevates for the same reason that everybody on the planet Earth's blood sugar elevates at the same time of the day. It's called dawn effect. It's called dawn effect. Your circadian rhythms know that in an hour or two, you're going to need to function. You're going to need to get out of bed. You're going to need energy. You're going to need your blood sugar to jack up a little bit, and that's what happens. And that's why when I go get a fasting blood sugar test at 8 o'clock in the morning at the VA, my fasting blood sugar will be 90. If I waited till 2 o'clock in the afternoon and hadn't eaten and went in and got the same fasting blood sugar test, it would have been 75. That's absolutely normal. It's talked about by every carnivore and YouTube keto doctor. It's called the dawn effect. Look it up. You're perfect. You're working. Everything's working just like it's supposed to. And you're a ketovore. Yes. And Zebediah Smith, I drink buttered coffee for the satiation. Yes, it's good. A lot of people just like it. It's a good drink. It's for the same reason people put cream in their coffee they have for years. It's a nice flavor. It makes it more like a mocha caramel kind of a flavor. I mean, that's what put Starbucks in business, was making tasty coffee drinks. Me, I went the other way a long time ago. I gave up sugar, gave up milk and coffee, and I've been drinking coffee black ever since I got out of the Army. I just don't enjoy it any other way anymore. I don't like any of those foo-foo drinks. Steve Studley says, I believe you, Mitch. Well, I hope so. I hope so, unless you want to hire somebody to follow me around. No, Steve, it's true. It's true. That's integrity on my part. Why has my my video kind of locked up here? If you guys lost my camera feed, hang on a second here. What's going on here? Okay, something is screwy. If I froze, hang in there, bear with me. I will try to come right back. And with no problem, just give me a minute. I am still live. And I am still here, and there I am again through the magic of computers. That's the strangest thing. That's the first time that ever happened to me. I see I'm back. Okay. Thank you for hanging in there. 135 people. God, I love it. I love it. Thanks for coming, guys. It's almost 2 hours. Where was I? You froze, says Golf Addict. Yes, 90 is perfectly fine anytime. Yes, that's not bad. I've always been kind of low carb all my life, even though I was a carb addict and would gain the weight back. I would lose it again, up and down, up and down. But I never got to the point where I got anywhere with a sugar problem. The highest my A1C has ever been in my entire life was about 5.2. Now it hovers 4.9 to 5. And there are those who say when you get really healthy, your red blood cells live longer, therefore they stay immersed in whatever sugar you have for a longer period of time, and more of it will glom on, and your A1C can rise a couple of tenths of a point. Not because your blood sugar levels rise, but because your blood cells are living longer immersed in what sugar you have, and therefore the A1C is up. I never worried about it. Never worried about that. Never worried about my my blood sugar, and diabetes was never on my radar or a concern that I had. Zebonot's asking me a question here. Let me. I see one further up the chat. Let me get back to you on that, Zebonot. TJ Byers' question: have you watched Bart Kay's rebuttal of Dr. Cywus's? Kay goes into the same situation you seem to be going through. These guys argue constantly. You know, as far as Bart Kay is concerned, there is nobody on the planet Earth that knows as much as he does. I think Rob Cywus feels the same way. So I suppose that those guys can battle back and forth over minutia, and I consider both their points. And I'm going to do a lot more considering about it. It's not a big deal. Eat a couple berries once a week. Can't hurt as long as it doesn't trigger my addiction. Then it could be devastating. That's all I care about. As far as I'm concerned, I can continue doing what I'm doing for the rest of my life. I'll live a nice, long, healthy life either way. But inquiring minds want to know. I just want to know, is there any validity to those things? And I'm going to try to figure it out. As a non-doctor, but I may not be a doctor, but I am a hell of a scientist. I do know how to troubleshoot. I do know how to experiment. I do know how to isolate variables. You just saw how fast I got my face back up on the screen in this live stream. Seconds. It took me seconds to diagnose where in all of this shit that's going on my screen, which one of these things was causing the problem that I had to restart. And that's how I am. I can fix crap. So I take that same troubleshooting logic that I have and try to apply it, but it has to be applied in a smart manner, and I have to be very careful that I don't hurt myself. I don't want to release the beast of my addiction again. Cost me most of my life. I'm over that. So that's the Bart K question. I had seen another question down here. You're frozen. You're back. Unfrozen. Yes. Question. Glad you didn't do the Joe Biden. Okay, thank you. Glad you put asterisks in that unpleasant word. Here it is. Zebonot. Question. Is the carnivore diet plus intermittent fasting superior to metformin? Your thoughts? I don't give advice on drugs, Zevanot. It would be stupid of me from a liability standpoint. Metformin, if anybody's got to take, from what I understand about it and what it does and how it works, it's probably the least harmful drug that anybody could take. And I've even heard Ken Berry say, to people who probably could get off the metformin, yeah, keep taking the metformin a little longer. I don't think it could hurt you. But it's not something you can't compare either or with the carnivore diet versus metformin. It's not that kind of a thing. It's not that kind of a thing. The carnivore diet with intermittent fasting, when you get your metabolic health in shape and you become metabolically healthy and your A1C is normal and you have long ago gotten your A1C down into the low 5 point something range where you're not even a pre-diabetic anymore. Yeah, I think maybe you wouldn't need metformin at that point. But I wouldn't give it up until you get to that point. But that's between you and your doctor. So I hope that thought helps you. It's about the best I can do when it comes to talking about taking drugs. The only drug I tell people I have a really hard time with are statins. And earlier in this stream, I actually told you why there are times when they've shown that statins can be beneficial, especially if you're really obese, diabetic, and really insulin resistant and metabolically sick. Because if you have high LDL in that case, it's more than likely SDLDL. It is damaged, glycated, oxidized, and not good to have. But other than if you're like that and you have high LDL, I am in the anti-statin camp, and I have been since I first Googled statin hoax some 40 years ago when Google first came out. I think that might have been one of my first Google searches was statin hoax, because I suspected that there was something hooey about that from the very beginning. I quit Ozempic a month ago. It turned out to be a smart move for me. Yes. Maybe the smartest move you ever made in your life. Oh, Boyd's telling me that Bart K tore into Ben Bickman too. How can anybody tear into Ben Bickman? He's so lovable and nice. I stay out of those guys. I told you in that thing that I made this morning in that video that I hardly watch any of that stuff anymore. I've watched all of those guys. I know who constantly adds to their knowledge and who just keeps regurgitating the same shit over and over. And I respect the hell out of Sean Baker. I love him. I respect him. I just can't watch his videos anymore. Sorry. Anthony Chafee. Respect the guy. He's brilliant. I can't watch another 3-hour Q&A. Ken Berry. Love the guy. Can't watch any of that stuff. When he comes out with a video on a particular subject, I always watch it, because his takes on those and the way he documents them and researches them are top notch. But to watch another Q&A with the same questions, I can't do it. I get bored. I don't know what to say. I just lose interest in a hurry. I've seen it before, been there, done that. And the whole time I've been doing this, not only just the carnivore diet, but all of this diet, I have been creating my own reality that I think is real and I think how it works. And I keep trying to refine that and further sophisticate it. And I do my own thing here on YouTube. Somebody will reach out to me for an interview every now and then, and I'll say, okay. But I just do my own thing. If I get subscribers, I'm fine. If I lose subscribers, fine. I'm going to be me. I'm going to do it my way. I'm too old at this point in life to change who I am. I can't. I don't want to. And that's why I chase away people who don't accept me. The hell with them. And if they want to unsubscribe, fine. I don't care. What do I care? I have morals and I have integrity, and those are the things that are important to me. If I say a bad word, who cares? Who cares? I have a video here with every celebrity on the planet saying bad words strung together, and it's on YouTube. So I played a little of that, I think, on my Thursday night live stream. It was a riot. It was a riot. It's kind of time to shut it down here, and so that we can all take the rest of the day off. But let me take a quick look. Richard Williams, it's about friggin' time you got here, my friend. Good afternoon, old fart, he says. Hello to everyone else. Hi, Richard. Everybody's saying hi to Richard. Steve, something good to see you all. Thank you, Mitch. Yeah, Amby, Zebedee Smith, not a doctor, not medical advice. Boyd Lamb's got a bunch of metformin. Bickman's take on the Randall cycle was excellent. Boyd. Ben Bickman's take on the Randall cycle, as far as I'm concerned, was much more meaningful. Hold your ears, Bart K. You don't want to hear this. Much more understandable, relatable by people who aren't at Bart K's level of biochemical knowledge. It was a much better explanation of what it really is without having to go into the molecule by molecule interaction of God knows how many different enzymes and interactions between molecules are involved in that simple decision of whether this cell is going to switch its primary fuel from sugar to fat. From sugar to fat. I loved it. I find it hard to disagree with anything that Ben Bickman says, because Ben Bickman is a very thorough and careful researcher and does not open his mouth unless he can back up what he says, and he's sure that he can back up what he says. He's one of the best. And he's a lovable guy. He's just a sweetheart. You just got to love him. I can't even see the guy ever getting angry. I have a golf addict that's a crap load of Ozempic boxes. Yes, crap load is right. That stuff is going to be, oh God, the damage I think that's going to do to the human race and our society as well, allowing people to think that they can fix all this shit with an injectable drug like that without having years, decades of experience of the downsides of what might happen. There's already, God, the number of lawsuits that have already been filed is enormous. I'm going to watch that one from afar. I'm certainly not going to participate in talking about it anymore, or certainly taking it. Pat Ramirez says, only one I care to watch anymore is No Card Life. Yeah. He just interviewed me. Ha. It was a great interview. I enjoyed it. And I'm going on with somebody else. I'll tell you about it on the 20th, I think. It's that, what the hell is her name? God, I forgot offhand. Takes me a while to remember people's names, but we've got an interview scheduled. She's a carnivore. I met her in Orlando, and she was one of the Biggest Loser contestants on TV. And she eventually gained all the weight back, I guess. We'll find out. And became a carnivore. Now she looked thin and great when I met her, but this was after that whole adventure. And now she's a carnivore YouTuber. She wanted to interview me, so I'm going to do that. We'll see next week. Boyd Lamb doesn't like Mark K. I know that. I can see that. Everybody's saying bye, see you soon. We still got 121 people in here, but I think that's the last of the questions that I got. If I missed any of your questions today, guys, I apologize. Do the best that I can. I had a good time. Thank you. Thank you, as always, for putting up with my regurgitating stuff the whole 2 hours. There's nobody to talk to, so I have to do all the talking. I'm feeling great. I got my shipment of cigars in today because I was almost out of them. So the important shit is out of the way. Now we just have to get back to the trivial stuff of worrying about the world blowing up in my face. But as long as I got my cigars. Question Kelly Hogan, Janice says, is that no carb life? Is she no carb life? You know, you've got Dave Mack, who one of them is zero carb life, the other is no carb life. I forget who's who. So, yeah, Kelly Hogan is good. Kelly Hogan is good. Aunt B wants to thank me for everything that I do for all of us. You're very welcome, B. It's my pleasure. My pleasure. Boyd Lamb. Okay. Bye. See you soon, Darlene says. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Thank you all so much for coming. I am going to bring in a little bit of travel and music. Here we are. So today is Saturday. I will see you all Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on my regular live stream. I'll be popping out a video here and there like I do, and maybe even a recipe or a cooking video. Haven't done one of them in a week or so. I've cooked breakfast, but it's been mostly commentary lately. You guys seem to enjoy my ranting videos, so I enjoy doing that stuff as well. See you Monday morning. Monday morning, have I got a collection of absurd comments for you on Monday. If you're not rolling on the floor with tears in your eyes on Monday, you have no sense of humor or irony after you hear some of this crap. I can't wait. Believe me, that rant this morning took nothing away from what's coming on Monday, so we'll see you then. And with that, my friends, I'm going to encourage you all to take the rest of the day off and eat meat.